What is up everyone, this is Jay from Midwest Gaming, and today we wanted to publish a video discussing what our team thoughts are on the format so far and what we are beginning to observe as the meta develops. 2 weekend of events, both regional and national levels across the world have happened, and these are the general trends we've seen so far. This is what we believe are the top 3 decks and other meta relevant decks that have been having success so far. Orchis is positioning itself to be the top deck. If you know nothing about it, any way to get 2 monsters and having a card to discard, assuming you are uninterrupted, ends you in this type of board. You have a total of 4 disruptions and typically a follow-up, being able to revive Rusty with the Phantom Knight cards, as well as setting Crescendo with Galatea to use during your own turn for protection. The deck can also run very powerful extra deck monsters such as Boral Sword, granting anyone facing the deck minimal time to counter the strategy. What is more important about Orchis right now, however, is the variety of decks we have seen do well in the competitive landscape. There are all sorts of card techs and engines people are utilizing, such as Trickstar, Sky Strikers, Dangers, Warriors, Burning Abyss, Thunder Dragon, even Dinos are part of the mix, and deck sizes varied anywhere from 40 to 60 cards. What this tells us is that unlike some of the other meta-relevant decks, Orchis has a ton of space for experimentation, and anyone who can build the most consistent and powerful version can expect to do very well, since right now, there is no clear consensus on what the best version of the deck is. Just as an example, here are 3 deck lists, all which top their respective events, which show some similarities, but generally, all utilize different engines to reach the 2 monster on field requirement. Now the other 2 decks that have still been doing well are Salamangreats and Sky Strikers. Both of these decks got hit in the ban list, with Salad's hit being pretty irrelevant, but Strikers suffering more due to losing their Kagari, which makes their ability to manage resources a lot more challenging. Nevertheless, both decks still have extremely powerful and consistent card pools. The decks we've seen topping have remained largely the same to last format. Some minor changes are Salad's inclusion of Signet Mining to maintain the loss of consistency they received when Debug got hit, as well as many versions playing Impermanence in tandem with Phantasme. This is done to increase their ability to disrupt combo decks and have no fear of Neo Space Connector and Dolphin, which are proving to be extremely problematic cards for hand trap heavy decks. Some Sky Striker changes include versions which main or side a new field card Mystic Mine. This card has caused a ton of discussion on its fairness due to the ability to lock your opponent out completely and win you games easily if your opponent does not have a way to remove it, and Sky Strikers use it in a similar manner. By sitting on Mystic Mine, you are able to continue attacking directly using Hayate, which will eventually lead to a game win. Now, one deck I just briefly wanted to touch on before discussing potentially new meta threats is Thunder Dragon. The deck is still very strong, being able to set up massive oppressing boards, but its inability to run backward removal using spell and traps, and the hit to summon sorceress have decreased its popularity. The deck is still something to keep in the radar, but more combo-oriented players seem to have shifted to Orchis or are testing changes with a more pure version compared to the Sekka's combo version to better cover all matchups. Some of the other old strategies that we believe are still viable but do not consider them to be the strongest are True Draco, Ultrageist, and Subterror. With the rise of Mystic Mine, all of these decks that rely on Floodgate we believe have a tougher time since many decks have opted to main macro removal, and we are seeing a side more heavily dedicated against Floodgates, making these decks lose their edge. Now, in the space for new threats, we have Pendulums with the inclusion of Endymions and Guard Dragon combos, Mystic Mine Burn / Deck Out, as well as Dinos due to Miscellaneous going to 3. These decks are not as highly represented in the competitive space, however many have done extremely well and can easily win matches. In the Mexico Nationals, Endymions won the event, and furthermore it was a more pure-oriented version unlike the combo ones which have seen some success. The combo versions can typically end on this type of board, which all decks struggle to out due to the amount of negates and high attack and defense values the monsters have, making it difficult to attack over them if you are a Sky Striker or Salamangreat player. Moving on to Mystic Mine, the deck has topped and won several events including the San Jose Regional and Guatemala Nationals. This deck is completely new and their strategy relies on burning the opponent while they cannot do anything due to Mystic Mine being face up on the field. Some cool techs include the usage of Goddess Skull to prevent your opponent from ever seeing their outs. Generally, 2 versions of the deck are forming, one more burn oriented running cards such as Just Desserts, Secret Barrel, and others which focus on control cards to win the game using solely Wave Motion Cannon. Another strategy we believe is very solid is Dinosaurs. The deck still has very powerful cards such as Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and Lagia or Dorka, letting you establish good boards to disrupt your opponent or break their boards attacking everything with UCT. Some variations are testing the new Synchro and Dane, IB, since it can easily be made in Dinos to go into Guard Dragon combos to set up additional disruptions. This deck has a lot of space for innovation, however it's not too popular among the player base, so it's not something you can expect to be largely represented. All in all, if you're preparing yourself for any big events, be prepared to face Orcus, Strikers, and Salamangreats the most. We believe these are the top 3 decks of the format so far, and considering they were so popular last format, you can expect many players to still be using these strategies. Orcus is a deck with the most space for experimentation, so continue to expect players innovating on their list, trying to acquire any advantage they can think of over their opponents. Other really strong decks, however, but not as popular, include Thunder Dragon, Mystic Mine, Pendulum, True Draco, and Subterror. All of these decks have easily achievable win conditions and are decently popular among players, making them something you could easily run into a tournament setting. With that, I want to thank you all for listening. We will be bringing you more videos and content as we are streamlining our process, so if you are interested, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like our Facebook page. Also, let us know your thoughts and how your testing so far is going in the comments section below. Thank you all.